Jack, can I ask you something? When someone asks you, how was your day, what do you actually say?
Honestly, I usually just say, it was good, or maybe it was fine. Why?
That's exactly my point. I do the same thing every single time. It was good, then I went here, then I did this, then I came home. So many thens and so many goods. It's like my whole day sounds the same even when it wasn't.
Wait, that's actually true for me too. I never notice how much I repeat myself until you said it out loud.
So today, let's fix that. Let's actually talk about our real days and let's see how many different words we can use instead of just saying good and then over and over again. Welcome back to Rose and Jack Everyday English. We're so happy you're here. I hope yesterday's episode helped you. Today is day 6 of our 30-day B1 to B2 challenge. Today's topic is how to describe your day without repeating the same words. By the end of today's episode, you'll feel much more confident talking about your day in English, and you'll finally have new words to use instead of just good and then. This is real English conversation practice, perfect for anyone who wants to improve their English speaking and sound more natural in everyday English conversation.
And trust me, if you're learning English, this is one of the most useful topics we've done so far, because everyone talks about their day every single day. Okay, so let's actually do this properly. Rose, tell me about your day today. Real details. No, it was good.
All right, challenge accepted. So this morning started off pretty hectic, to be honest. My alarm didn't go off, so I woke up almost 30 minutes later than usual. I jumped out of bed, grabbed the first clothes I could find, and ran out the door without even eating breakfast.
Oh no, that's rough. So what happened once you got to work?
Are you heading to the gym? I've been trying to go more often myself. Well, once I got there, I found out my 9 o'clock meeting had actually been moved earlier to 8:30. So I walked in completely out of breath, and everyone was already sitting there waiting for me.
That sounds embarrassing. Did you say anything?
I just laughed and said, sorry, everyone, today has already been an adventure. And luckily, my manager left too, so it wasn't as awkward as I expected. After that rocky start, though, the meeting itself went pretty smoothly. We talked about the new project timeline, and everyone seemed on the same page.
That's a relief. So what did you do once the meeting ended?
Once it wrapped up, I grabbed a coffee, finally, and sat down to answer emails. There were about 40 unread messages, which felt overwhelming at first, but I just took them one at a time.
40 emails? How do you even deal with that many?
Honestly, I just sort them by importance. The urgent ones first, and the rest can wait a bit. Anyway, around midday, my coworker Emma came by my desk and asked if I wanted to grab lunch with her. We hadn't caught up in a while, so I said yes right away.
We'll be reading the comments, so don't be shy. Every sentence you write is a step closer to speaking English more naturally and more confidently.
Where did you two go?
There's this small sandwich shop near our office that we both love. We sat outside since the weather was nice, and we ended up talking for almost an hour, way longer than we planned. It was honestly the best part of my day.
That sounds lovely. Did you talk about work or just life in general? Mostly life. She just got back from a trip to Portugal, so she was showing me photos and telling me stories the whole time. Eventually, we had to head back because our lunch break was almost over.
Naturally. So what was the afternoon like?
The afternoon was a bit slower, actually. I worked on a report that's due Friday, and I made real progress on it, which felt satisfying. Around 4, though, I hit a wall. I just felt completely drained, so I took a short walk outside to clear my head.
Did that help?
Surprisingly, yes. Just 5 minutes of fresh air made a big difference. When I came back, I finished the last section of the report and finally left the office around 6.
And how was the commute home?
Honestly, exhausting. The bus was packed and I had to stand the entire way. But once I got home, I made myself a simple dinner, pasta with vegetables, and just relaxed on the couch for the rest of the evening.
So overall, how would you sum up your day?
I'd say it started stressful, turned pleasant during lunch, felt productive in the afternoon, and ended peaceful at home. Definitely not just good.
See, that's already 10 times more interesting than it was good. Okay, now it's my turn, right?
Absolutely. Tell me everything.
All right, so my day started off pretty calm actually. I work from home a few days a week, so I woke up naturally, no alarm needed, and made myself a proper breakfast for once. Eggs and toast.
That already sounds better than my morning.
Maybe. Anyway, I sat down around 8:30 to start working, and I had a video call with a client at 9. It went really well actually. We finalized a project we've been discussing for weeks.
That must feel satisfying, finally finishing something like that.
It really does. Once the call ended, I took a short break and went for a quick jog around the neighborhood. It's become part of my routine lately, and it honestly helps me think more clearly for the rest of the day.
I really admire that. I always say I'll exercise in the morning and then I never actually do it.
Well, some mornings I skip it too, don't worry. Anyway, after my jog, I showered, grabbed a quick snack, and got back to work by around 11. The rest of the morning was pretty focused. I finished writing a proposal for a new client.
How did lunch go for you?
Lunch was simple, just leftovers from last night. But something unexpected happened right after that. My old university friend, Daniel, called me out of nowhere. We hadn't spoken in almost a year.
Wow, that's a surprise. What did he want?
He's actually visiting the city next month, so he wanted to know if we could meet up. Obviously, I said yes immediately. It was so nice hearing his voice again, and we ended up talking for almost 40 minutes.
That's such a nice thing to happen randomly in the middle of a normal day.
Exactly. It completely changed my mood. Anyway, after that call, I had a slower afternoon. I ran a few errands, went to the grocery store, picked up a package from the post office, and did some cleaning around the apartment.
Did anything interesting happen at the grocery store?
Actually, yes. There was a really long line, and the woman in front of me started chatting with me about the weather. And somehow we ended up talking for 10 minutes about our favorite restaurants in the city. It was a nice little conversation with a complete stranger.
I love those small moments. They make an ordinary day feel a bit more special.
Totally agree. So once I got home, I cooked dinner. Something a bit more ambitious tonight, a proper stir fry with vegetables and rice. And afterward, I called my sister for a bit before finally sitting down to relax.
So, how would you describe your day overall?
I'd say it was calm at first, productive during the morning, surprising in the afternoon because of Daniel's call, and relaxed by the evening. Honestly, a pretty satisfying day.
See, that's amazing. Neither of us used good or then the whole time.
Huh, you're right. I didn't even notice until you pointed it out.
That's the whole point, actually. When we use different words like afterward, eventually, once, surprisingly, or later on, our stories become so much more colorful. Even native speakers naturally use these words without thinking about it, but as learners, we often forget they exist because then feels safer.
That's such a good point. It's like we get stuck using the same 3 or 4 words because they're familiar, even though there are so many better options.
Exactly. And it's not about using fancy or complicated vocabulary. All the words we use today are still B1 to B2 level, totally natural for everyday English conversation. It's just about variety.
I think this is honestly one of the most useful English-speaking practice exercises we've done. Just talking about a normal day, but paying attention to our word choice.
Definitely. And for anyone listening who's trying to learn English speaking more naturally, I really recommend trying this at home. Just describe your day out loud and try to avoid saying good and then more than once.
It's harder than it sounds, trust me. I only managed it because we were actively trying today.
True, but that's how habits form. The more you practice, the more naturally these words will come to you in real English conversation without even thinking about it.
All right, well, now that we've told our whole days in detail, I think it's time to slow down and look closely at the language we actually used.
I agree. There were some really useful expressions in there that are perfect for improving your English fluency. All right, let's go through some of the expressions we used today. The first one is once, like in once I got there or once the call ended. We use once to mean as soon as something happens or after something happens.
Right, and a common mistake learners make is using when for everything. When I got there is fine, but once sounds more natural in a story, and it shows a clear sequence of events.
Exactly. For example, once I finished my homework, I watched a movie. It just flows better than repeating when or then constantly.
The next one is eventually. I used it when I talked about ending my phone call with Daniel. Eventually means after some time or after a series of events. It's great for stories.
A common mistake is using finally in every situation instead. Finally and eventually are similar, but eventually often shows that something took time or effort to happen. For example, we eventually found a table at the restaurant after waiting 20 minutes. Good example.
Let's talk about afterward. I used it when I said, afterward we cooked dinner. It simply means after that.
A more natural alternative that learners often forget is later on. Both work well. For example, we had lunch, and later on we went for a walk.
Next is surprisingly. I used it earlier. Surprisingly, that helped. It means something happened in a way you didn't expect.
This is a great word because so many learners just say it was surprising as an adjective, but using surprisingly at the beginning of a sentence makes it sound much more natural and conversational. For example, surprisingly, the exam was easier than I expected.
Let's not forget out of the blue, which I used when I said Daniel called me out of the blue. That means something happened suddenly, with no warning.
A common mistake is using suddenly for everything, but out of the blue specifically works well for unexpected events involving people, like phone calls or messages. For example, she messaged me out of the blue after 5 years.
What about caught up? You used that one, Rose, when you talked about meeting Emma.
Right. To catch up means to talk with someone about what has happened since you last saw them. For example, we caught up over coffee and talked for hours.
A mistake learners sometimes make is saying we updated each other, which sounds too formal. Caught up is much more natural in everyday English conversation.
Let's also mention hit a wall. I used that when I said I felt drained in the afternoon. It means you suddenly feel very tired or stuck and can't continue easily.
That's such a useful expression. A common mistake is just saying, I got tired, which is correct but much less descriptive. Hit a wall paints a clearer picture.
Finally, let's review wrapped up. I used it when I said the meeting wrapped up. It simply means finished or ended.
Right, and a lot of learners only know finished, which is fine, but wrapped up is more natural, especially for meetings, projects, or events. For example, the project finally wrapped up last week.
These expressions might seem small, but using them regularly will make your English speaking sound so much more natural and fluent.
Let's talk about some common mistakes B1 learners make when describing their day.
The first one is overusing then. For example, a learner might say, I woke up, then I ate breakfast, then I went to work, then I had a meeting. That's grammatically correct, but it sounds repetitive.
A better version would be, I woke up, ate breakfast, and then headed to work, where I had a meeting. Notice how we only use then once, and we connect ideas more naturally.
Another common mistake is saying it was good or it was bad without any details. For example, my day was good. This is correct English, but it doesn't give the listener any real information.
A more natural version would be, my day started a bit stressful, but it turned out pretty productive by the afternoon. This gives much more detail and keeps the listener interested.
A third mistake is using and after instead of afterward or after that. For example, learners often say, I ate lunch and after I went home. This sounds a little unnatural.
A more correct and natural sentence would be, I ate lunch and afterward I went home, or simply, after that I went home. Both options sound much smoother.
One more common mistake is forgetting to use time expressions like later on, eventually, or at some point. Learners often just list events without showing the passage of time.
For example, instead of saying, I worked, I had lunch, I finished my report, a better sentence would be, I worked for a few hours, and at some point I took a lunch break. Later on, I finally finished my report.
These small changes make a huge difference in how natural your English sounds, especially in real English conversation.
Next is surprisingly. I used it earlier. Surprisingly, that helped. It means something happened in a way you didn't expect.
This is a great word because so many learners just say, it was surprising as an adjective, but using surprisingly at the beginning of a sentence makes it sound much more natural and conversational. For example, surprisingly, the exam was easier than I expected.
All right, friends, here's today's comment challenge. We want you to describe your day in English right now in the comments below.
But here's the twist. You are not allowed to use the words good, bad, or then. Instead, try using some of the expressions we practiced today, like eventually, afterward, once, surprisingly, or out of the blue.
It doesn't need to be long. Just 3 or 4 sentences describing how your day actually went using at least 2 of today's expressions.
This is such a great way to practice real English speaking, and it also helps you remember these words much better than just listening.
We'll be reading through the comments, so don't be shy. Practicing in public, even in a comment section, is one of the best ways to improve your English fluency and build real confidence.
We can't wait to read your stories, so go ahead and share your day with us right now.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today, friends. We really hope this episode helped you describe your day with more confidence and much more variety.
You're doing such an amazing job by showing up every single day for this challenge. Consistency is honestly the secret to improving your English speaking, and you're proving that every day you listen.
Don't forget to try today's comment challenge and really pay attention the next time you describe your day, whether you're speaking or just thinking in English.
Tomorrow, we'll be back with day 7 of our 30-day B1 to B2 challenge. And trust us, it's going to be another really useful topic for your everyday English conversation skills.
If you haven't already, please subscribe so you don't miss it, and turn on notifications so you never fall behind in the challenge.
Thank you again for listening, for practicing, and for trusting us with your English learning journey.
See you tomorrow, friends. Keep speaking, keep practicing, and we'll talk again very soon.